The return of earmarks, horrific or a necessary evil? Bring in Rachel Bovard of the Heritage Foundation. She is against the return of earmarks. Jason Grumet joins us. He's the founder and president of the Bipartisan Policy Center. And he just wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post titled, "Bring Back Earmarks." He argues, quote, "The elimination of earmarks has sanitized the legislative process to a virtual standstill." Jason, I'm going to start with you because you have the contrarian position to consensus. When I read your op-ed, it boils down to the argument that without chits to trade, nothing gets done. You want a hard piece of legislation that isn't popular to be put through. It really helps if a senator can go back to his county and say, I got the museum built. Is that it?
So, look, Michelle, there are a couple of issues. I would start where Speaker Ryan started, which is to talk about restoring the Constitution. The fundamental design of our Constitution is to balance local interests and national interests. Having taken away the capacity of members of Congress to address their local concerns, it should not surprise us that we are not able to deal with our anti-competitive tax system, our need for new infrastructure, our need to address entitlement reform, our need to increase domestic energy production.
But am I right? The point is that if you had those earmarks, it would be easier to get those deals done.
Absolutely. But again, this is not a necessary evil. This is the way the system is supposed to work. And this kind of hypersensitive notion that we should never allow members of Congress to deal, to transact, to come up with compromises that move things forward is just silly. And it's a big reason why our government's not working today.
Well, Rachel, but part of the issue is that some of these earmarks, you just roll your eyes at them, right? I mean, the Cowboy Poetry Museum, there's all kinds of museums all over the country paid for by taxpayer dollars, and nobody's really sure anybody wants because of earmarks, right?
That's absolutely right. And only in Washington, D.C. would we hear the argument that to bring consensus back to Washington, the answer is backroom deals. Earmarks are absolutely an unacceptable waste of taxpayer money. They've been eliminated since 2011, and we've seen a subsequent decrease in federal spending because of that. But more than that, they contribute to these massive government spending bills. And we were $19 trillion in debt, and we're going to allow federal bureaucrats and elected politicians to sit in the back room and trade away favors and sweetheart deals for lobbyists.
Speaker Ryan, what he was saying about the issue of separation of powers, taking it away, the spending power away from bureaucrats, and instead giving it back to members of Congress. Is that an important constitutional concept?
There's one way that Congress can reassert itself over the executive branch, and that's by writing better bills. They don't like what the executive branch agencies do with the money that they appropriate. They need to write better bills. The problem is these bills are so vague that agencies are allowed to take this money and spend it however they want. Congress has two tools, one to write better bills and two to extract oversight over these agencies. Earmarks are not the answer.
Listen, Michelle, I think Rachel is kind of tilting at self-created windmills and a theory that just doesn't apply to the real world. We are not talking about going back to the bad old days of secret things being tucked into legislation. That was a problem. Congress actually addressed that considerably in 2010, and what is being proposed by the Congress today is that no earmark can increase the budget, no earmark can be put forward without it going first through the committee process, no earmark can be put forward without the sponsor being required to post it on their website, on a congressional website. Members of Congress are accountable every 2 years. If they are bringing up, cowboy museums and bridges to nowhere, I have every faith that Heritage Action will be out there highlighting that issue. So this is, not about creating a system that's silly and then complaining that it's silly.
Here at CNBC, Jason, we actually miss Pork Barrel Watch. We used to do it all the time. It was a lot of fun. We had a pig that would oink. We had a whole graphics package, and then we would go through the whole list. We haven't been able to do that. Guys, we got to go. Really appreciate it. We'll see how this plays out. Rachel and Jason.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.